Hi everyone, Pamela Haines here from Homes by Pam. I'm powered by Keller Williams Portfolio Realty in Toronto. Today I'm going to be talking to you about my predictions for the real estate market for the rest of 2021. I'm going to start right now. Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Please hit that subscribe button. It just takes 1 second and it really helps with the whole YouTube algorithm, and also the notification button, so I can share some great videos like this with you in the future. And I don't want you to miss anything. So let's face it, guys, this market has been absolutely crazy. It's gone bonkers. And this has been happening for the last little while in Toronto. It's great for people like you and I if you have a home already, because it's going to come with, it's a frenzy that's going to come with unexpected levels of huge appreciation for those of us that have homes. But for those of us who don't have homes, it's also creating a lot of problems. It's creating new levels of unaffordability, or for those people that actually still have good jobs but just simply can't afford to get into the market. Take Jenna Moon, for instance. She's a reporter with the Toronto Star. She actually wrote an article on what it would be like to get into the market in today's day and age. So she has a great job. And if she were to get into the market today, in Toronto, she could only afford a storage locker or a parking space. Let's look at the trends for 2021 so far in Toronto so that we can actually see what's been happening. So with 5 months already under our belts, we should get a good idea of what's happening. These figures can actually tell us what we can actually expect in the market. So in January, if you look at January, the sales were up significantly, 15.5%. in terms of the price from last January. In February, we saw almost 15% increase year over year in prices at 14.9%. In March, the year over year sales were almost 2 times that of last March and up 21.6% from last year. So the April sales for year over year, the sales in terms of the volume of sales were up 4 times that of last year, greater than 4 times, and up 33% from last year in terms of prices. And then in May, we saw a 28.4% increase in prices. Now, interestingly enough, we have seen the number of new homes on the market, both the inventory and the sales, have gradually decreased from March to May. So we'll see what this indicates. So what's this exactly telling us in terms of the real estate market? Well, it's telling us a few things. It's telling us that people have other things other than real estate on their minds. Real estate isn't the sole thing on their minds, and this is why there's a reduction in the number of new listings and the number of sales. And it's okay, we don't need to panic about it. And the reason we're not panicking is because the average home price keeps creeping up. It keeps creeping up slowly, and the market does remain strong. So we don't have to worry per se. So what's not surprising is that Toronto is ending up on several lists of being a city that is least affordable in the world. It's not really surprising. And in fact, there was a recent study that was done by, it was actually a report that was done by Oxford Economics, and it ranked Toronto as one of the least affordable cities to live in. And they had actually looked at 25 major metropolis areas. It's not exactly the most affordable city to live in, and it's not surprising. A recent survey done by RBC Bank found that more than 1/3 of Canadians between the ages of 18 and 40 no longer believe that they will ever be able to afford a home, which is pretty striking. The Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation, CMHC, predicts that this pandemic-induced turbocharged housing market will remain with us for another 2 years. A lot of excitement in terms of the real estate market, still yet to come in terms of what CMHC predicts. In fact, the pace of construction is not even able to keep up with the demand that's happening and what we need to see, and in terms of providing housing for those that need it. This is even given the fact that the immigration rate has actually slowed down to the point of a mere trickle. What's the current situation in Ontario and in Toronto? Ontarians and Torontonians are becoming much more confident and much more mobile. So why are Ontarians and Torontonians becoming much more confident? Well, in the last week of May alone, COVID cases decreased by 35%, which is amazing. And so we're well ahead of, in terms of the provincial situation, exceeding the best case modeling situation. In terms of people going to ICU, we're well ahead of that. So we're sort of starting to see a positive change. So you're probably scratching your head saying, but Pam, What does this have to do with real estate? It has a lot to do with real estate. You see, as people and consumers gain more confidence, they're going to be out and about doing different things, including doing a real estate transaction or real estate things. So beginning on just this past June 11th, the province actually cautiously lifted public health measures that they had in place. So this is good. And we've seen a resumption of more outdoor activities. So with that, we're going to see much more activities, and we're going to see people out and about, and even more excitement in the real estate market. There you have it. Much more confidence in our ability to safely proceed and in our safety and well-being, and that's going to equate to changes in the real estate market. So for several months, Torontonians have actually searched far and wide to find an affordable option for their first house. And in fact, it's been a great effort on these people's minds to be creative in terms of, really trying to find their first homes. In fact, it's turned a lot of markets on their heels in terms of prices. For example, communities outside of the GTA are going crazy in terms of some of the highest sale prices in the country, whether it's in Ontario or even beyond Ontario, but we're just talking about around Toronto in general. New home buyers have literally been known to have this mindset, and it's created this mindset of, it's actually called drive until you qualify. What does this look like, or what does it mean? It means choosing a highway like the 401 and literally driving until you find an area or a place that you like and that you're happy with within this particular area that you found, something that you can actually afford for your money. Unfortunately, that this creative mindset of driving until you can qualify has really created a domino effect. It's actually driven up prices outside of the city to the point where people that actually thought that this was a creative way to actually afford to buy in a market, surprisingly priced out of the market overall. So it's no wonder that RBC study indicated that 1/3 of people will never be able to afford a home. Another factor which may help in cooling down pricing demand in Toronto is a universal vacancy tax. This is where owners would actually have to pay more to keep their home vacant than if it were occupied. This is the same for Canadians or foreign investors. And this will come into play, they think, in about 2022. And there will actually be a foreign levy applied to foreigners on top of that. And this is for foreign investors only. For now, the market will remain strong. Now, some buyers are exhibiting buyer fatigue, which is not surprising because they've been looking for so long and it's a really crazy market and it's hard to find something affordable. So I anticipate throughout the summer that as people gain more confidence and they're out and about and they may be vacationing or socializing or doing other things other than real estate, there may be some opportunities to find a good situation where people aren't out and about and doing real estate. And there may be some opportunities for home buyers to actually catch a deal or two, while others are focused on other things, like they were locked away for so long and now they're free. So will the housing market bubble ever burst? Because there's been a lot of talk about this for many, many years. Or will the housing market crash? So what if we were to see a 15% drop in housing prices? Would this lead to a crash that we're all expecting? Well, let's think about this for a second. Over the course of several years in Toronto, we've seen nothing but a positive trajectory or an uphill trajectory. So let's think about this for a second. I doubt that this would lead to a market crash because after a conservative increase of say 200% over the years in Toronto, 15% would just be a mere splash in the pond. Now there is something called new listings to sales ratio, and it's a tool used to measure what's happening in the market and market performance. The lower the ratio is, this means that buyers are simply not interested in the offerings for that particular price. If the ratio is higher, this means that the market is tighter and there are fewer choices. Well, a sales to new list ratio of above 60% indicates a seller's market, whereas a 40 to 60% ratio indicates a balanced market. But below 40% is where we should see prices dropping. But here's the thing. So what we do know is that certain areas tend to have higher ratios. And usually after a substantial drop, like we actually saw in 2007, 2009, and 2017 of approximately 20 points, we saw a cooling off or a price decrease. And we actually saw the same decrease in January and over the last few months. And with a close to 20-point drop since January, the ratio was the highest in 19 years. And this marks one of the fastest declines in the Toronto markets. Let's look at this perspective historically. In Toronto, we've only seen the ratio dip below 40% for 4 months in the last 20 years. So the fact that we aren't seeing the prices drop and any changes in the local market are just regional, as I mentioned. Now, this can indicate that we have a perfect storm situation. We have pent-up demand, we have literally low interest rates, we have, more people feeling confident because they have their shots in their arms, they have their vaccines, they feel stronger, they feel more confident. And we have a strong level of immigration, which is even going to get stronger. This indicates a strong market. The stress test situation, we're not actually seeing it having a huge impact on the overall market barometer. While some areas have, like I said, seen a recent slowdown, this tends to be reflective of a particular regional population effect or something regional happening in that area. So what I predict is that the pace of the price growth may soften somewhat, but we're going to continue on this upward trajectory or upward trend. The renewed population growth through immigration and a lack of relative inventory to what is needed will underpin the home price appreciation that we're going to see. And I think that Toronto will continue to favor sellers throughout the rest of the year. So with that in mind, I hope that if you're a buyer or a seller, that you get out there and you find the home you want, or you get your home sold for the price that you're looking for. I hope you found this information helpful. This is Pamela Haines from Homes by Pam, helping you with your real estate matters.